What's going on, everyone? Kellan Reck here. This is my standard studio setup, but if you're trying to make your own setup, what happens if you don't have a light? This isn't gonna work. In this video, I'm gonna show you how to use natural lighting to go from this to this. So as you know, this is my original studio setup. This does not look great right now. It's dark, it's shadowed, with no light in front of me, there's not much I can do. But I have all of these windows here, and if I open them up, I can use the sunlight to make a drastic difference. Now before I do even that, I want to switch over from the camera audio to the lav mic audio that I'm wearing. Getting a lav mic will up the quality of your videos like crazy. There's a link below for one like this, and you can see that this audio is much stronger. So once we've got the audio set, we can now move on to adjusting the brightness and the position of our camera. So all I have to do is open up these shades. If I open these up, I'm suddenly getting much more light in the room. And then if I swing my camera around so that I'm being lit by the natural light of the windows, we're getting a much better lighting on me, the subject. So this means I need to just turn my studio around, not a problem. So now I move my camera off of my tripod, which would generally be set up over here, and I put it onto a Joby Gorilla Pod, and I'm just gonna set it on my desk, as you can see right now. And you can see that just like that, we're getting a much better light on the face. It's not shadowed. I don't have any umbrella light casting light on me right now. It's just from the outside sun coming in. Let me show you through my phone camera so you can get a sense of what the setup's actually looking like. So you can see that I'm being well lit. My camera's on the Gorilla Pod. It's shooting at me with the sun behind, the sun coming in over my setup. And this is what my background's looking like right now. We'll get into that shortly, but there's a much better light on my face. My standard setup would be here. The windows are blown out, my face is shadowed. It's not what we want, but by turning the camera around, putting the sunlight behind us, you get a much better look on the face. So let me show you a side-by-side of what it looked like in my original setup with no light, very shadowed face, and now this, where we have the sunlight coming in, casting light on us, and much cleaner look. So now that we have the camera repositioned, we have the light coming in from the window, things are looking good in terms of my face and the way I'm lit. Again, I have no additional lights in use right now, just the window light. The problem is our background is looking really bland. It's dark, it's shadowed, there's not a lot of depth, there's no color, nothing's really happening. So I'm gonna get up and I'm gonna make some adjustments to this background, and I think you'll see some huge differences in the way that things are looking. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna open up these curtains. Then I'm gonna turn on my lamp that I have back here to cast just a little bit of tungsten orange light going on in the background. I'm gonna clean up my bed so it's not so messy looking. And I'm also gonna open up this door behind me. And you'll see that that'll give us some depth into another room. We have some orange lighting in there that's gonna kind of mix things up. So what I'll do is I'll toss on my phone camera here and I'll take you along with me as we make these subtle adjustments. So we're jumping into the phone now. You can see we have our window, our camera set up. Things are looking good over here, but we wanna make these subtle adjustments over here. So let's open up this curtain. Basically what we're doing is we're letting in more natural light. This is no additional purchased lights. We're letting in natural light. It's gonna cast light onto this art that I have on the wall already. I wanna tidy up my bed because it's an absolute mess. So I'm just gonna basically make sure that it's looking somewhat clean. It's not too messy. Throw things properly down so we have blankets not skewed everywhere. I'm gonna turn on this lamp here so we get a little bit of that orange light being cast in the background. And finally, I'm just gonna open up this back door. I didn't like just the white door, it looks a little awkward. What you can see here is we have some depth shooting into the next room. We've also got a light on in the next room, which is gonna cast just a little bit of additional glow in the background. So just a few elements added to the background of these shots that are making a big difference, and you'll see it when we go back to the main angle. So here's our look prior to changing the background of the scene. After doing so, and you can already see what a drastic difference that makes, just letting in more light in the background, adding some depth over this shoulder into the next room, having some light that affects the art on the back wall, the little glow behind my shoulder right here from that lamp. Those subtle changes are nothing additional, no purchased items. It was a lamp I had, it was opening a door, it was letting more sunlight in. Just getting more light and adding more depth can make a massive difference to your home studio setup. So we're almost there. The background's set, we've got the lav mic on, I'm using no additional lights besides the window, our camera's repositioned, and things are looking good. However, there's a few camera settings I want to adjust to get this perfect. Right now I'm shooting at ISO 2000, which is far too high. So I want to go in and dial that down. We're getting a lot of light in here. I want to dial that down and I want to adjust my aperture. Right now my settings are an aperture of f10, which means that everything in the background's mostly in focus, and so am I. There's just too much in focus, we don't have enough depth. I've got a shutter speed of 1/30, which I want to get to 1/50 because you always want your shutter speed to be double your frame rate, and I'm shooting at 24 frames per second. And my ISO of 2000, like I said, is just too high. So I'm going to make those adjustments right now. And just like that, you can see that we now have a nice blurred background. There's some beautiful depth going on. I changed my f-stop from f10 to f2.8, which is giving a lot of depth. There's a really shallow depth of field. So you have me in focus and the background nicely out of focus. My shutter speed is now 1/50, and I was able to use my ISO to compensate for the exposure. I'm now at ISO 250, so I have a much less grainy image at ISO 250 than I would at ISO 2000. So let's look at our original image, the original way this looked prior to any adjustments. So this was me in my original setup without any lights. It was very dark and shadowed. Then we repositioned our camera and you saw that it was starting to look a lot better using that natural light, but our background wasn't quite right and we wanted to adjust that. So we cleaned up the background, we let in some additional light, gave some accents with the lamps and some depth with the door, and then we made our camera setting adjustments, and here's our final image. I hope you enjoyed this video, everyone. There's some links down below for gear if you want additional things that you can purchase, some additional lights if you do want to go that direction, the lav mic that I used in this video, and much more. Thanks for watching. Go ahead and like the video if you enjoyed, subscribe for more content, and we'll check you back in the next one.